Here are the top stories for today, July 17, 2019. A Filipino-American official in Los Angeles, California was moved by the stories of tribal leaders. Results of a nationwide poll show President Duterte is still the most trusted top government official in the country. The show cause order on Salugpungan has been extended for another 5 days. And the Presidential Task Force on Media Security and the ACT-CIS party list signed today a memorandum of agreement to ensure the welfare of media workers.
Good day, I'm Rom Dulfo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. A Filipino-American official in Los Angeles, California admits he was moved by the stories of tribal leaders who shared their narrative of struggle and deception against the Communist Party of the Philippines, or CPP, and its armed wing, New People's Army. Cerritos City Council member Mark Pulido, who is former two-term mayor of an affluent suburban city in LA in 2014 and 2018, said he always had a natural interest and curiosity about things happening in the Philippines. He said he cares deeply about his Filipino identity and doesn't wish the Philippines to be in turmoil. He adds he was made aware as a young child of what the IPs are really experiencing. Pulido vowed to share the IP leaders' stories with the rest of the Fil-Am community, which he said is more than 50 years old and have fully realized the promise of political empowerment and civic engagement. Television actor and probationary Second Lieutenant Mateo God't said the youth can play a very big role in advancing the nation's peace and development. During the Preventing and Countering Violent Extremism Forum at the Notre Dame of Jolo College, Jolo Sulu, last July 15, God't said the youth hold a very strong part in our country and can create big change in the future. He also disagreed with those who are afraid of the Muslims. Meanwhile, Philippine Army Chief Lieutenant General Macairog Alberto said getting the youth to denounce terrorism would effectively stop this threat. He said the forum aims to stop terrorism, to stop the recruitment of the youth to join terrorist groups and denounce terrorism. Presidential spokesperson Sal Panelo said Iceland may have been fed with wrong information which convinced its government to push for a human rights probe on the Philippines. Panelo said he and President Duterte are both wondering why Iceland is making that anti-drug war posturing. He said the president suspected that the Nordics country could have been misled by false information or was naive to accept such data. He also downplayed the impact brought by Duterte's consideration to cut diplomatic ties with Iceland, noting that it would not have an impact on their trade relations and does not see the deportation of the 2,000 Filipinos working in Iceland because of the threat to cut ties. Panelo also clarified that there was no contradiction as far as Foreign Affairs Secretary Teodoro Locsin Jr.'s tweet that the Philippines is not severing diplomatic ties with any country. He said Locsin or any cabinet member's words are always subject to change based on pronouncements made by the president. Senator Bongo vowed to support President Duterte in case the chief executive decides to sever diplomatic ties with Iceland in view of its resolution at the UN Human Rights Council. The senator's reaction came after presidential spokesman Sal Panelo said President Duterte was contemplating on cutting ties with Iceland after it sponsored a resolution asking the UNHRC to probe the country's human rights situation, including deaths in the campaign against illegal drugs. Go, who visited Cebu on Tuesday, said he knew the intention of Duterte in his campaign against criminality, corruption, and illegal drugs, and his closeness with the president made him understand the wisdom of his anti-drug campaign. Go believes that the justice system in the country is functioning and that there is no need for other countries to intervene in the country's own issues. He said intervention by other countries on the alleged human rights issues can be avoided if drug personalities will stop their illegal activities. Manila Mayor Isko Moreno says he goes around major public hospitals to ensure that proper care is being given to poor patients. And the Department of National Defense, or DND, cites the benefits of the national ID system to improve national security. More on this and other news around the metro from Janice Calvin.
Manila Mayor Isko Moreno on Tuesday appealed to public health service professionals to be caring and understanding when dealing with sick patients, especially the poor. He called on the attention of the administrators of major public hospitals in the city to be available to serve the public and disclosed that he goes around the public hospitals in Manila at dusk to check on the delivery of the public health services. He said the monitoring will be done regularly to address health system problems. Meanwhile, President Rodrigo Duterte has signed a law on the mandatory reporting of epidemics and other health emergencies. Under the law, the DOH and its local counterparts are mandated to implement the mandatory reporting of notifiable diseases and health events of public concern. In other news, President Rodrigo Duterte has signed Republic Act 11293 or the Philippine Innovation Act. Under the law, various agencies will work hand-in-hand with private organizations to provide technical and financial support programs for the development of training of entrepreneurs. And to improve the country's security, the Department of National Defense cited Republic Act 11055 or the National ID System, which would serve as a single official identification card for all citizens and resident aliens of the Philippines. DND spokesperson Arsenio Andolong said Tuesday that the measure will allow the government to discern with accuracy the identities of individuals residing in a particular community. Duterte earlier said the Phil-CIS would boost his administration's drive against the social menaces of poverty, corruption, and criminal issues, as well as terrorism and violent extremism in the country. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Still to come, President Duterte awards housing units for former communist rebels in Davao del Norte, and Salugpungan granted 5-day extension in show cause order. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Masakit sa amin dahil tao din kami. Alam ko, nagpunta ako dito dahil gusto ko lang maikwento ang katotohanan na nangyari doon sa amin. Kung ang anak ninyo turuan sa kamalian, kung ang anak ninyo doon iparaan, turuan maghawak ng baril. Kung tingnan natin, noon, ang buhay ng tribo ay masaya niya ninira sa aming pamayanan. Noong nakapasok ang NPA, doon na simula ang kaguluhan na nagkawatak-watak na ang tribo namin. May nagrally na, may nag-NPA na, magkakaguluhan na. Hindi na kami nagkakaintindihan.
You have a Communist Party of the Philippines that is a terrorist group. Every one of us, law-abiding citizens, should be opposing that terrorist group which is declared by the US government, declared by other countries in the Europe. That's why we are concerned when we have organizations that are supporting. Why? Because they are killing us. And now we are only appealing to let us also tell our stories. Is that too hard? Do we need to be shouted upon? No? We were being killed in our communities. We come here to tell our stories. You have your time in telling stories time and again.
Results of a nationwide poll show President Duterte is still the most trusted top government official in the country. According to a Pulse Asia survey conducted in June, the president enjoys both trust and approval ratings of 85%. 3% of respondents in the poll said they disapproved of his work, while 11% were undecided. The survey used face-to-face interviews with 1,200 respondents 18 years old and above. Malacanang on Tuesday said it is not threatened by former Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno's call for protest against President Duterte. Sereno bared that she is joining the demonstrations when President Duterte delivers his State of the Nation Address or SONA on July 22. Presidential spokesperson Sal Panelo said he would even be amused to watch her do so and encouraged Soriano to join the opposition to exercise her freedom of expression. He stressed that President Duterte himself encourages protests because legitimate grievances against the government can be freely expressed under the Constitution. Panelo dismissed the idea that Soriano's encouragement for others to join the protests is inciting to sedition. Malacanang said Tuesday the president's fourth SONA on July 22 will be short. Presidential spokesperson Sal Panelo said that the fourth SONA will be about 2 hours. During his third SONA last year, the president kept his promise to deliver a short address which lasted for about 48 minutes and was free from the usual expletives present in his first 2 SONAs. The president's first SONA lasted for 90 minutes, while his second SONA lasted for 120 minutes. However, his third SONA was delayed for over an hour due to change in the leadership of the House of Representatives, where former President and now Pampanga Representative Gloria Arroyo replaced Davao del Norte Representative Pantaleon Alvarez. Presidential son and Davao City Representative Paolo Duterte earlier warned that there may be another coup for the House speakership despite the recent agreement among the 3 top contenders for the post. However, the president dismissed his son's remark. Personal remittances from overseas Filipinos went up by 5.5% as of May 2019. According to Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, bank-channeled remittances increased to $2.9 billion in May 2019 from $2.7 billion in May 2018. BSP Governor Benjamin Diokno on Monday said the steady growth in personal remittances during the first 5 months of 2019 drew support from the remittance inflows from land base of workers with work contracts of 1 year or more. This aggregated to $10.5 billion from $10.2 billion in the same period last year. Personal remittances from January to May 2019 reached $13.7 billion from last year's level of $13.2 billion. Likewise, cash remittances from January to May 2019 reached $12.3 billion, 4.5% higher than the $11.8 billion recorded in the same period last year. The U.S. registered the highest share of overall remittances for January to May 2019 at 36%. President Duterte on Tuesday led the awarding of housing units for former communist rebels and the demilitarization of firearms in Tagum City, Davao del Norte. The housing project inside the Freedom Residences subdivision benefited 375 families of former members of the New People's Army or NPA and paramilitary group Militia ng Bayan. President Duterte welcomed these former rebels as they reintegrate to society. The housing project is implemented under the Enhanced Comprehensive Local Integration Program. To date, 60 housing units have been completed and ready for occupancy for the former rebels from Davao Oriental, Compostela Valley Province, and Davao del Norte. Aside from housing units, President Duterte also assured the former rebels of financial assistance, firearms remuneration, and building of schools for their children.
I hope that today's event will continue to encourage the National Task Force to end local communist armed conflict. The task force Balik Loob and their local counterparts to work doubly hard in addressing the problems of insurgency so that our people can enjoy safer and more secure.
The show-cause order issued in Salugpungan schools has been extended for another 5 days. And Soc-Sargent has recorded an alarming increase in dengue cases. More on this and other news in the provinces from Benj Bondo.
In Davao City, the Department of Education Region 11 said the show-cause order on Salugpungan Tatano Igkanugon Community Learning Center Incorporated has been extended for another 5 days. The extension from July 17 to July 22 was granted on the request of Salugpungan Executive Director Maria Eugenia Nolasco to give them time to answer the allegation made by National Security Advisor Hermogenes Esperon about Salugpungan's supposed ties with the communist rebel movement. In Cotabato City, the Department of Health in Region 12 or Soxalgen has recorded a 151% increase in dengue cases with 42 deaths for the first 6 months of this year. According to DOH, the number of dengue patients increased to 9,363 from January 1 to July 6 this year compared to 3,727 cases in the same period in 2018. The youngest dengue fatality was a 2-month-old baby, while the oldest was 97 years old. In Magallanes, Cavite, the local government embarked on a massive cleanup in possible dengue-carrying mosquito breeding sites and fumigation over the weekend. Alarmed by reports about the surge of dengue cases in some areas, Mayor Jasmine Maligaya Bautista has ordered the Rural Health Unit through its Municipal Health Officer, Dr. Jose Gemel Bacolod, to address the situation in view of 8 dengue cases that were reported. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Bench Bondo.
Up next, the Presidential Task Force on Media Security or PTFoMS and the ACT-CIS party list signed today a memorandum of agreement to ensure the welfare of media workers. And the Transportation Department inaugurates the biggest port passenger terminal building at the port of Cagayan de Oro. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
For a long time, that is the narrative that you bring here. I don't know what is your problem with our government. I don't speak for the government. I speak for my community because it is my brothers and sisters that is being killed. I don't know what is your problem with your government, but what we are saying here, please stop your wars, no? In our land, making our land a coarse land. We are a simple people. No? In fact, some of our leaders here, as you can see, you have your old technology. You are very articulate. You are very... But we have one thing. We have respect. And you cannot take it from us.
Napakalaga ng diskusyon na ito ng mga indigenous peoples leaders sa harap ng Filipino community dito sa San Francisco, California. Dito kasi sa Amerika nanggagaling ang pinakamalaking suporta na naaabot o nakakaabot sa CPP-NPA. Katunayan dito sa San Francisco, nakabase ang organisasyon na tumatanggap ng mga donasyon sa mga umano'y lumad groups at napupunta naman sa rebeldeng grupo.
You know, they're trying to ruin their identity, yung culture, di ba? They're trying to abolish that and then they use them and then that's not good. We need to stop that.
The revelation that was brought to us today is very sad, very unfortunate, and we here, as the Filipinos in America, would like to support the cause of our indigenous people.
The Presidential Task Force on Media Security and the ACT-CIS party list signed today a Memorandum of Agreement or MOA to ensure the welfare of media workers. ACT-CIS party list led by Rowena Nina Taduran joined Task Force Executive Director Undersecretary Joel C. Ego at the signing held in Quezon City. The memo highlights the combined efforts of the PTFoMS and ACT-CIS towards the enactment of the Media Workers Welfare Act and other measures for the benefit of members of the media. Taduran is pushing for equal protection and standardized remuneration under the Media Workers Welfare Act. The bill seeks to ensure that media workers shall be provided with comprehensive benefits packaged at par with the current benefits enjoyed by those in the labor force, both in government and the private sector. It also seeks to motivate and encourage media workers to perform their duties as truthful and responsible informers of the people and to ensure the creation of a safe, protected, and an atmosphere conducive to a productive, free, and fruitful media work. The Tourism Department welcomes the inclusion of Palawan, Cebu, and Boracay among the popular destinations in the 2019 Travel Leisure's World's Best Awards. Palawan ranked second on the 15 best islands in the world list, while Cebu and Boracay were voted 7th and 9th respectively on the top 10 islands in Asia category. Palawan is home to San Vicente that hosts the longest white sand beach in the Philippines. It is also home to hundreds of species of birds and the country's longest subterranean river. Meanwhile, Cebu and Boracay remain as longtime favorites due to its top-notch reef and wreck diving, white sand beaches, and hiking trails with waterfalls and welcoming locals. Tourism Secretary Bernadette Romulo Puyat said this citation by a major publication validates the DOT's efforts towards attaining a sustainable tourism industry in the country. In our foreign news, the UN reports world hunger is on the rise and more than 820 million people were hungry in 2018. The UN on Monday said the downward trend in world hunger reverted in 2015. While the ratio remained largely unchanged in the past 3 years at slightly below 11%, the number of people who suffer from hunger slowly increased, reaching 821.6 million in 2018. About 2 billion people have experienced moderate or severe levels of inability to obtain food. Hunger is on the rise in almost all sub-regions of Africa, while undernourishment is highest in Southern Asia. Obesity is also contributing to 4 million deaths globally. In sports, the Samahang Basketball ng Pilipinas has revealed its 19-man Gilas Pilipinas men pool for the FIBA World Cup. The SBP named Japeth Aguilar, Raymond Almazan, Mark Baroca, Bu Belga, Andre Blash, Robert Bolick, Jordan Clarkson, Poy Eram, Junmar Fajardo, Marshall Laceter, Paul Lee, Gabe Norwood, CJ Perez, RR Pogoy, Stanley Pringle, Kiefer Ravenna, Chris Stenhordinger, Troy Rosario, and Matt Wright to the national team pool. Coach Yang Yao decided to bring Clarkson, Pringle, and Stenhordinger in just in case Blash gets injured before the FIBA World Cup, which will start on August 31. This despite being classified as naturalized players due to failure to prove that they got their Philippine passports before they became 16 years old. The Transportation Department and the Philippine Ports Authority inaugurated the biggest port passenger terminal building at the port of Cagayan de Oro. More on this from Apipa Bagumbaran.
Secretary Arthur Tugade of the Department of Transportation inaugurated the country's biggest passenger terminal building located in Port Macabalan, Cagayan de Oro City. The two-story building, which can accommodate up to 3,000 sea passengers, contains facilities and GOT-compliant amenities that cater to the safety and comfort of passengers. These include body scanners, security cameras, assistance desk, designated green area, childcare station for breastfeeding and diaper changing, and special boarding lanes for PWDs and senior citizens, among others.
For the information of all, I have inaugurated many terminals during our term. For the record, the truth is, this is the biggest passenger terminal in the Republic of the Philippines. Ito hong project na ito ay magbibigay tibay sa kagustuhan ng ating Pangulo na magkaroon ng mobility at connectivity sa Visayas and Mindanao.
According to Cagayan de Oro Port Manager Isidro Butaslak Jr., the passenger building is a manifestation of the government's commitment to give comfortable life to all Filipinos.
With these developments, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte's Build program have eventually cascaded and reached the shores of Mindanao. These long sought after port infrastructure facilities are among the living proof of government's unrelenting service and commitment to the Filipino people.
The Secretary also thanked the Philippine Ports Authority in Cagayan de Oro for realizing the dream of building the biggest passenger terminal building, as this is a step towards giving the people of the city a comfortable life through enhanced connectivity. Tugade also inaugurated the Opal Port in Misamis Oriental, which will serve as an alternate port to address congestion in Cagayan de Oro Port. For PNA News, Apipa Bagumbaran, Philippine Information Agency.
Tropical storm Falcon is expected to bring moderate to heavy rains in most parts of Luzon. Moderate to heavy rains will be experienced over Ilocos Region, Cordillera, Cagayan Valley, Central Luzon, Cavite, Batangas, Occidental Mindoro, Northern Palawan including Calamian and Cuyo Islands, Aklan, Antique, Capiz, Iloilo, and Guimaras. Meanwhile, light to moderate with at times heavy rains will be experienced over Metro Manila, Calabazon, Bicol Region, and the rest of Visayas and Mimaropa. Falcon may exit the Philippine area of responsibility Friday. Meanwhile, a low-pressure area was spotted 170 kilometers west of Lawag City, Ilocos Norte. Meanwhile, let's check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Here's another look at today's biggest stories.
A Filipino-American official in Los Angeles, California was moved by the stories of tribal leaders. Results of a nationwide poll show President Duterte is still the most trusted top government official in the country. The show cause order on Salugpungan has been extended for another 5 days. And the Presidential Task Force on Media Security and the ACT-CIS party list signed today a memorandum of agreement to ensure the welfare of media workers.
Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and more stories, visit the PNA website to follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags on all our social media platforms and websites. And that's your daily dose of latest news and information that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. I'm Rom Dulfo. Good day.